Inspiration Whispers. I'm your host, Coach Rileagh, and I want to welcome you and Evan today. We have an awesome guest. Evan, I've done some background on you. I've really researched you, and I want to find out more of like how you got into the big YouTube thing, of course, but you have a kind of a humble beginning, and then it jumped. So could you unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah, well, hey, Rileagh, thanks for having me. Great to be here. Hopefully we can whisper some inspiration into people's ears on this program here. How did I get on YouTube and what led to the growth? So I started on YouTube. April 2009 was the first video upload. So it's been a little bit. I started because it was the only visual platform, and I'm a visual learner. So I wanted to have a visual thing that I was creating. And I'm a big believer that your purpose comes from your pain, that whatever you struggled with the most as a human is what you want to help other people through. And so I struggled a lot as an entrepreneur, my first business, being 19 years old and, making no money and wanting to quit and everything. And I'm really just still making videos. I'm now, 41. I'm still making videos for 19-year-old Evan, and just recognizing that there are millions of people out there who are 19-year-old Evan and they need my voice. So that's what got me started. It also still drives me. I struggled at the beginning because a couple of reasons. One, YouTube wasn't an educational platform when I was on it.
No.
It's become the educational platform where everybody goes to YouTube to learn. But at the beginning, it wasn't. It was a bunch of memes. It was man falls downstairs. It was just a bunch of stupid videos. And so I was, I guess, ahead of my time, but not that I was smart. I was just, just happened to be there. I was lucky, I guess. It was the only visual place to be. And I also sucked, quite honestly, Rileagh. I'm introverted. I'm shy. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. I'm afraid of disappointing people. I associated being famous with ego and screwing people over and just all of these negative connotations. So it took me a while to get good. It took me a while to get comfortable. It took me a while to overcome it. And one of the big breakthrough moments that I had was my agent, who pushed me to realize that introverts want to serve too. That just because you're an introvert doesn't mean that you can't be in front of the camera, that you don't have a message to share, that you don't want to help others. And so even though I'm shy and afraid, and it doesn't come across in a setting like this because I get to talk to Rileagh. We get to do inspirational wisdom. This is great. I love it here. But in general, I don't talk. I don't talk to the person next to me on the airplane. I don't say hi randomly to people. I just keep to myself for the most part. And just that recognition that I had a little voice inside me whispering, saying, you need to step up. You need to do the thing that you're afraid to do. You need to find your courage because people need your message.
You just said something really, really important. And I think courage does line up with inspiration because it takes a lot to stand out and be inspired. It takes that courage. You mentioned your agent, but, getting even on YouTube took some courage. When did you say, hey, I can be courageous here. I can stand in my own.
I'm still figuring that out. It's a great question. I actually opened my YouTube account November 2018, but it took me till April 2019. No, November 2008. And it took me till April 2009 to actually make. So what happened in those, X number of months? Probably a lot of procrastination and delaying and hedging, and I'm not good enough, and nobody wants to hear my message, and who am I, and all these things. And I think we're constantly in need of more courage for the next level. I think lack of belief is the world's number one problem. I think everybody has what I call Michael Jordan level genius at something. And we just either don't believe that we can do it, or we don't believe that we have anything in us. And we believe enough to get to this point, but we don't believe in ourselves enough to get to the next point. And so as much as I've done, great. If I look back to Evan from 10 years ago, like, wow, there's no way you could do all that stuff. It looks very courageous. But at the same time, Evan from 10 years in the future is looking back to say, you still have so much more growth and learning and courage. Like, I still need more courage and more belief to get to the next step of what I want to create and do. So, and I think that's good. I think we want progress. We want to climb forever. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, beyond the mountain is more mountains. So like, you get to the top of the mountain, that's we've all faced it. We've gotten some goal, you achieved it, great for a few seconds, and then, oh, well, now what do I do? There's another mountain. We always want another mountain to climb. We want to swim forever. We never want to reach the island. You want to keep swimming. And so that's how I see courage or belief as well. Is it's helped you get to this point, but you still need it. You always still need it, no matter who you are. Oprah Winfrey still needs more courage to the next spot in her life.
Absolutely. So, you have this really beautiful statement, this mission on your LinkedIn, and it says, I want to help. I may be saying this slightly different than it actually says, but something, so help the world's number one problem, or fix. That's what it says. It says fix the world's number one problem. What is the world's number one problem?
Just that lack of belief. People don't believe in themselves enough. And the thing that you could be great at, have that Michael Jordan level talent and genius at, is probably not what your parents did. And it's not what you went to school for. And it's not what you studied. And it's not what anybody around you was doing. It's something new. And it's now possible to actually go and chase it down. I've got it behind my wall. That's me when I'm 8 or 9 years old, and my parents above me. And I'm 41 now. The opportunities available to me as a 41-year-old, if I look at my parents when they were 41, it's just a different world. They couldn't do this. Even if they had big dreams, big ambitions, to be able to do this, to reach so many people, it just wasn't possible. You had to be really crazy to even go off and try to be an entrepreneur. But now it's possible. And it doesn't mean that everybody has to be an entrepreneur, but you've got more in you. And if you're listening to Rileagh, you've got more in you. That's why you're here. You want those whispers, of inspiration. All of those dreams that you have for yourself have never been easier to actually go off and get. The tools are now available for you to actually go off and run it. So the time is now to actually go and chase it down, where 4 decades ago it wasn't possible. Now I'm trying to unlock as many people as possible, fully realizing I'm never gonna hit the goal, but wake up every day trying to hit the goal. And that's the inspiration that I try to follow every day.
Wow. So you have the hashtag believes, and this is your message that you are expressing on all platforms. That not just, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, not just that you believe in them, but get them to believe in them. What else is out there? What's next past it? How many people do you want to reach?
Everybody. Like, it's never going to happen. I want to hit every human on the planet, and it's never going to happen. But I wake up every day trying to make it happen.
And do you think it's just maybe also like the pond effect? Like it may not happen with the straight one-to-one, like they've seen your video, but the effect will be?
That's why I'm here. Because everybody listening to Rileagh, you reach people that I've never reached before. Some people listening might have heard me before, but for some people, it's their first time here. So that's why I'm doing, obviously great conversation with Rileagh too. Hey now, but on Thursdays, we're recording this on a Thursday. Thursday is my public facing day. And that's when I do podcasts and interviews and shows and calls and my training programs, because I have an obligation to get my message out there. Again, channeling my mom, one of the things that she would always tell me is, if you have the ability, you have the responsibility. If you can, then you must. And I think all of us have an ability, right? We all have an ability to serve, to share, to help. We know how good it feels. Like if you're listening to this, you've listened to any of Rileagh's programs, you have a greater ability. And so if you want to channel my mom as well, okay, now you have a responsibility to serve and to help and to spread it. and serving is also selfish, and that like it makes you feel great, you know.
Yeah.
We all want to wake up and feel like today matters. We all want to wake up and feel like what we're working on today is going to mean something to somebody. We're all built to serve, and how we serve will be different for each of us. I want to spread more belief. You know, Rileagh, maybe you want to spread more inspiration, and they're sister words. You know, they're not the same word, but they're pretty close. And we all have that inside us that we want to share something with the world and feel like what we do matters.
Absolutely. So what is it that keeps pulling you along this road? Because, I mean, I heard the word service. Your mom's quote is brilliant. You have a responsibility, but what's inside that fire that keeps going?
Just knowing that it's having an impact. You know, I get it mostly through the individual connections. So when people, you know, when we have, I don't know, we have 3 million subscribers on the channel, almost 500
Yeah.
million views on the channel. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? 500 million views. I don't even know what that means. It's hard to, I mean, it's a giant number, obviously, but what does that mean? But for me, it's more the stories. It's the one-on-ones. It's the, you know, I had a woman who was on her podcast a couple months ago, and she let me know that, hey, Evan, 4 years ago, I was really struggling with, I think it was cancer. She was really struggling, and she was at almost the end of her rope, and she was watching my videos every day. She had an iPad, and she would watch my videos every day from the hospital bed, and she said that would give her strength and encourage and inspiration to just go one more day and try to get through it. And then there was I mean, already that's amazing, but there was one particularly rough day where she just, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of being tired. I just want to give up. Like, just, can we just end this? And her mom comes in and says, who is that person you follow on YouTube again? Because we're going to watch one of those videos right now. And her mom went and grabbed the iPad and, you know, found the videos and played it for her. And that's why I do what I do, right? I mean, I never knew her until I'm getting my hair is sticking up and I'm getting shivers as I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
Because if I'd never been on her show, I would have never known that I had this impact. And you know, blessings. Thank you so much that 4 or 5 years later, I get the chance to be on her podcast, and she gets to tell me this amazing story. That's why I do what I do, and that's not me being special. It's why we all do what we do. Like when somebody listens to one of your shows and then they write in and say, Rileagh, because of you, I XYZ. That's the best, right? Like that's the greatest thing of all time. More than buying my book or course or hire me to speak, or it's like that's the juice. That's the good addiction that you want to get on. And so that's what I try to remember is every day that, hey, this is having some kind of impact. I'm spoiled now in that, you know, we've been doing this for so long and we get so many messages on a daily basis. But at the beginning, when I first got started, I would take some of my favorite comments and put it as part of, because I wasn't getting many comments, right? Like I'd get 0 to 1 comments per video. So it's not like I'm
super excited.
Yeah, woo, somebody commented, oh my God, it's amazing. Right? So it wasn't, I started at the start. Guys, it took me 4 years to get to 1,000 subscribers or something like that. So I struggled a lot. And I put all of my favorite comments into this PowerPoint file, and I would watch this PowerPoint file every morning. And I would put, oh, what was this? I had Michael Bolton, I Will Go the Distance. I don't even know
nice.
that. So I would play it. And at the beginning, Michael Bolton comes on, I will go the distance, you know, that whole song. It's an inspiring, kind of uplifting song. And I would have the comments kind of fly in, just as a reminder to myself that what I do matters, because no matter how great a day you have today, like, yes, I'm on fire. This is great. I'm inspired. Let's go. You wake up the next day. It's like you're back to where you were. And so it's why the habits and routines become really important. But if you woke up and felt like today matters, that what you're going to do today may not hit 1 million people, but it's going to touch one person's life. Like if you actually felt that, you're going to show up just so much differently than if you felt like today doesn't matter. Like I think that's the path to depression is people wake up and feel like today, nobody cares if I show up. Nobody cares if I do this or not. therefore I don't matter, therefore, depression, suicide, etc. But if you felt like today mattered to somebody else, not just for you to do something, but like what you make, your video, your song, your book, your like whatever your talent is that you make is going to touch somebody in a positive way. That's what we all want. And so that's what keeps me going. People ask me, how do I not burn out? We've done over 10,000 videos. I haven't missed a video upload in at least 8 years, every day making videos. Why? How? Like for an introvert who's shy and doesn't like being in front of the camera, how do you make 10,000 videos? Well, because it's not work. But like, how do I not burn out? Burn out from what? Like I'm talking to Rileagh. Is this work? Talking to Rileagh? This is fun. I can do this. Yeah, this is amazing. Exactly. I'm not going to burn out from this. So I think like if you look at your calendar and you're not happy by what you're seeing, then start to fix and change your life, right? Like I see Rileagh in my calendar today. Like this is going to be awesome. We're going to talk about inspiration. Let's go. I'm excited for this. So is this my work hours? People ask me how much do I work? I don't know. What kind of question is that? This isn't work for me. This is all just life. So if you're counting the number of hours, or if you feel like there's nothing in your calendar that gets you excited, or you're just photocopying your life over and over and over again, if I was doing accounting, I would hate my life in 2 hours, right? And shout out to all the amazing accountants out there.
yeah, I'm with you. Evan, I'm like, if they are happy being accountants and that drives them those numbers, I am so grateful because I hire good accountants.
My accountant, Daryl, comes over and he's got this big smile on his face and he's got his briefcase full of papers. He's like, let's talk about your return. Like, okay. Like, I would never be that excited. But he is, right? And so I think it's achievable for everybody. I'm not special. It's just that I stayed with it, where I think most people just give up too soon. They quit too soon. They don't have the habits and routines. And then you're kind of stuck in this loop of knowing that you're capable of more, but never actually following through because you don't do the work.
Right. So, people are just coming out, depending on where they live, just coming out of the pandemic. I have a lot of clients and watchers in the UK who just got open. They're just opening up. And then you have some of my Australian viewers who are still just got re-locked down, and hadn't been locked down very much. And now they are, and they're going through it. And there's this struggle, and, there is this, what I do isn't important and who I am isn't important. And I'm not noticing. So what would you advise them, and what might help them find inspiration?
So your greatest level of service will be helping people who currently are who you used to be. Helping somebody is always the way out. Like if you feel low and you help somebody, it's impossible to feel low and that happiness at the same time. Like it'll shift you forward. And there's always a way to serve. There's always, like in micro moments, there's always a way to serve. You can hold the door for somebody behind you. You can buy the coffee for somebody behind you. You can go to Rileagh's comments and leave a positive comment. You can respond to other people in the comments and just say how much that episode means to you, or help somebody else. There's so much pain, even just online, that you can go and be the lighthouse for people in a sea of darkness, right? You can at any point choose to do that. So we know how good helping others makes us feel. But when you can find the people who are who you used to be, this is where I think a lot of people struggle, because you feel like you're not done. Like even earlier on this episode, we talked about, I'm still not courageous enough. I'm still growing. I still don't believe in myself enough. I'm still growing. And so we can let that feed our imposter syndrome to think, well, we need to have it all figured out before we share anything, right? The advice I give people is, think about who you were 10 years ago. And imagine you saw 10 years ago you sitting on a bench, or 5 years ago you sitting on a park bench, and you've got 8 minutes to go and sit down with them. So Rileigh's going to go sit down with Rileagh from 10 years ago. Do you have something you think you could share with her? Don't worry about sharing with the world. Just share with her. You could tell her something. You would encourage her with something. You would give her you would whisper some inspiration, right? You do it. You sit down the bench and whisper some inspiration to her ears. And you don't have to be Oprah Winfrey or Tony Robbins or Evan Carmichael or whoever. You already have enough to share with who you used to be, right? And then recognize that there are millions of people right now who are that right now. Right now, they're struggling with the same thing that you used to struggle with. And you can help them. And just knowing that and then taking some kind of action on it, whether you make a video, whether you go to somebody's post and leave a comment, whether you look at the help boards and you just giving love to people, like just so many communities out there, people suffering. Go to Reddit threads, go to YouTube comments. People are struggling out there. Go to Twitter and just give some love. Say, hey, I was there too. Even if you don't know what to say, just listening alone is value. You don't have to have advice. Just giving somebody an ear is value. And when you can, yeah, it's a lot of people who are struggling. They go, I don't know what advice to say. Well, don't. Just listen. Because nobody else in their life probably is, like, how many people in your life do you have, a question for the audience, who you could share your story with, share your problems with, and you get an understanding ear that's non-judgmental, right? Most of us, if we tell our family, or we tell our husband or wife, or we tell somebody else, our friends, like, they'll listen, but they're also judging in the back of their head, like, ooh, you know. And then we don't want to share because we don't want to be judged. So even if you are just that person who listens, you could be the only person in that person's life who's just actually listening to them, and that alone is tremendous value. And if you can feel that, you know, you feel the gratitude of them saying thank you. It lifts you up. It has to. Like, there's no world where you're still negative and depressed after you just help somebody get a little bit better. So the path through is service. I look at, you know, if you look at how do I be happy? Happy I divide into excitement and fulfillment. And excitement is I hit some goal, you hit 1 million subscribers, you get a new chocolate bar to eat, you buy a car, but it doesn't, it goes away. Like, who cares afterwards, right? It's not exciting anymore. But it's still, it's fun in the moment, and you can still chase excitement. But fulfillment is long-term happiness. And that comes from feeling like what you do matters. And that comes from serving people who are who you used to be.
And it inspires you to do more when you are fulfilled and leaving that inspiration, you know, for the people that you serve. So, you know, we got to wrap up here. We're close on time. So, but what is next? How are you going to upgrade this courage, this service that you give to the world?
I don't know. As soon as I get an idea, I start working towards it. You know, I don't have a 10-year goal. I think if you have a 10-year goal for yourself, you're thinking small. You know, I think if you look at who you were 10 years ago and you said, where am I going to be in 10 years? You wouldn't have said here. You would have said, I'm going to be doing this show. I'm going to be doing X, Y, Z. So I think, like, you got mission, purpose. I want to solve the world's biggest problem. And then what am I working on right now? And as soon as I get
your legacy, then what's your legacy going to be?
I don't think legacy either. So maybe I'm like weird. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm dead.
You really be dead, because your memory will always be with others who watched.
I don't care about my memory.
Away.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm not. I don't need statues about me. I don't need wings of departments named after me. I don't care who shows up to my funeral. Like, I'm dead. But what's the impact I can make while I'm alive? I don't even see it. I guess part of the legacy is I don't even see it as me. It's like, this is a human thing that needs to happen, and we're all in this together, right? Like, you're doing it. You're helping spread my mission too. Our missions are aligned. We're just attacking it in different ways. You're spreading inspiration. I'm spreading believe. I'm doing YouTube. You're doing your show. Like, we're all doing this together. And sure, you could say, well, I live on in the lives of others, I guess. But I don't know. I just don't think about it that way. I want to feel happy about the work that I'm doing every day. I want to feel like what I do is having an impact on people's lives. And whatever the best way, like YouTube, I think right now is the best thing anybody can do to get a message out there. In 10 years, when we come back and do another version of this show, we're going to be hologramming into each other's. I'm going to be on that beautiful beach with you. We're going to hologram in, you know, or VR sets or whatever it is, or contact lenses. Like, how will change? And that's why I don't think you can predict 10 years in the future, you know, where you're going to be, but it's still going to be doing big things that try to solve the world's biggest problem.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, Evan, thank you again for being with us today. This has been a fascinating conversation, and inspirational, and really touched about believing in oneself. So I want to recommend my audience, please go check Evan's YouTube out. He has some books. Check him out. It's really important and valuable. You're going to love it. If you love my show, you're going to love him. So enjoy this. And thank you again, Evan, for being here with us on Inspiration Whispers. I just really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rileagh. I probably didn't whisper enough. I'm maybe a little loud, but yeah, honored to be here. I love your energy, and thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching Inspirations Whispers, where we find inspiration and purpose for you so you can change your life. I'm your host, Coach Rileagh. I look forward to seeing you next time.